Charlie Kirk's story is one of conviction and tragedy. On a quiet September evening in Utah, a single gunshot ended the life of one of America's most recognizable conservative voices. His death sent shockwaves across the country, sparking debate about faith, politics, and the consequences of growing division. This is the story of Charlie Kirk, his upbringing, his rise to influence, the Christian faith that shaped his worldview, the events of his assassination, the arrest of his killer, and the motives investigators believe fueled one of the most shocking acts of political violence in modern American history. Charlie Kirk was born on October 14, 1993, in Arlington Heights, Illinois. Raised in the Chicago suburbs, he grew up in a middle-class family that valued hard work and strong moral principles. From an early age, Charlie was inquisitive and determined, a young man who liked to question authority and was never afraid to speak his mind. As a teenager, he attended Prospect High School, where his interest in politics began to grow. While many of his peers focused on sports and college plans, Charlie was drawn to campaigning and political debate. At 18, he volunteered for local campaigns, gaining first-hand experience in the world of politics. Charlie briefly attended Harper College, but chose not to pursue a traditional college degree. Instead, he took a bold step to follow his instincts, believing that his voice and vision could make a difference in America's shifting political climate. Years later, Charlie would marry Erica Francevy, a former Miss Arizona USA and a fellow Christian leader. They built a family together, welcoming their first child in 2022 and their second in 2024. Despite his national profile, Charlie often spoke fondly of family life, his role as a father, and his desire to raise his children with the same faith and values he held dear. Charlie's rise to prominence began in 2012 when he co-founded Turning Point USA, a grassroots organization dedicated to promoting conservative ideas among young people. Starting with little funding and no major connections, Charlie poured his energy into building a network of students who wanted to challenge prevailing narratives on college campuses. Within a few years, Turning Point USA had chapters at schools across the nation. Charlie became a sought-after speaker, appearing on television, podcasts, and at conferences, where his unapologetic style drew both admiration and criticism. Supporters praised him for his courage and willingness to stand against what he saw as dangerous trends in politics and culture. Regardless of opinion, Charlie had an undeniable impact. He gave a voice to a generation of students who felt silenced, and his movement became a powerful force in American politics. At the heart of Charlie's public work was his Christian faith. Raised in a Christian household, Charlie's faith became central to his identity in adulthood. He was deeply involved in Calvary Chapel and often spoke about his belief that America's future depended on returning to biblical principles. Charlie saw his role not only as a political commentator, but also as a spiritual leader. He frequently began meetings and speeches with prayer, encouraged people to follow Christ, and called for moral courage in times of cultural change. His faith guided his approach to politics, influencing his positions on social issues, family values, and freedom of speech. For Charlie, Christianity was not a private matter, but a foundation for how he believed society should function. He often said his greatest hope was to be remembered for his courage to live out his beliefs publicly. On September 10, 2025, Charlie Kirk was speaking at Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah. The event was part of his Prove Me Wrong tour, a series of open forums where he invited students to challenge him directly. It was an evening meant for discussion, debate, and engagement, hallmarks of his activism. Shortly after the event began, a single shot rang out. Panic spread through the crowd as students ducked for cover.
Violence. Great. U.S. conservative activist Charlie Kirk, co-founder of Turning Point USA, was fatally shot while speaking at Utah Valley University in Orem on Wednesday.
Charlie had been struck in the neck by a bullet fired from a rooftop approximately 200 yards away. Security rushed to his aid, and paramedics transported him to a nearby hospital. Despite their efforts, Charlie was pronounced dead later that evening. The news spread rapidly, shocking the nation. A man known for his fiery speeches, sharp debates, and strong faith had been silenced in an instant. His assassination was immediately condemned by leaders from across the political spectrum, who called it an attack not just on Charlie, but on the principle of free speech itself.
This is a dark moment for America. Charlie Kirk traveled the nation, joyfully engaging with everyone interested in good faith debate. Charlie was the best of America, and the monster who attacked him was attacking our whole country. An assassin tried to silence him with a bullet, but he failed, because together we will ensure that his voice, his message, and his legacy will live on for countless generations to come.
Manhunt was begun, and after a day, investigators identified a suspect, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, a Utah native and former university student.
We got him. On the evening of September 11th, a family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident.
Evidence tied him to the crime scene, including surveillance footage, ballistic analysis, and the rifle used in the attack, which was discovered abandoned in nearby woods. Robinson's family played a critical role in bringing him into custody.
He is observed on video in a plain maroon t-shirt, light-colored shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-colored shoes. When encountered in person by investigators in Washington County on September 12th in the early morning hours, Robinson was observed in consistent clothing with those surveillance images.
After the shooting, Tyler reportedly expressed suicidal thoughts and reluctance to surrender. His parents intervened, persuading him to turn himself in peacefully. Police revealed chilling details from the crime scene. Bullet casings left behind carried engravings with anti-fascist slogans, including one that read, "Hey fascist, catch." Another casing was marked with the phrase "Bella Ciao," a slogan historically tied to resistance movements. These engravings, along with Tyler's online activity and growing political anger, suggested that his attack was premeditated and ideologically motivated. Although investigators have not fully disclosed all motives, the evidence points to a politically charged assassination. Tyler Robinson had reportedly become increasingly outspoken in his opposition to Charlie's conservative activism. His actions appeared carefully planned. The rooftop vantage point, the choice of weapon, and the symbolic engravings all pointed to a deep sense of grievance. The killing sparked immediate debate about political violence and the dangers of polarization in America. Some argued that the attack reflected a broader trend of extremism and hatred in public discourse. Others called for calm, reflection, and a renewed commitment to peaceful dialogue. In the days following Charlie Kirk's assassination, vigils were held across the country. Supporters, friends, and family gathered to honor his memory. Politicians from across the political spectrum condemned the violence. And Christian leaders called for prayer and unity. Charlie's wife, Erica, released a heartfelt statement expressing grief, but also hope, anchored in their shared faith. She said Charlie died doing what he loved, engaging with young people, and standing firm in his beliefs. Supporters hailed him as a martyr for free speech, a man who spoke boldly about his faith even when it cost him dearly. Critics, too, acknowledged that his assassination marked a dangerous moment in American politics. In June of that year, just months before his death, Charlie was asked how he wanted to be remembered. His answer was simple: for courage, for my faith. Charlie Kirk's life was a testament to conviction. He was a young man who chose a path few would dare to take, stepping into the national spotlight without a college degree or wealthy connections, relying instead on determination and a belief that his message mattered. He built a movement that shaped a generation of young conservatives, challenged prevailing cultural norms, and brought faith into the heart of political conversations. His assassination is a tragedy that has left a deep scar on American society, but his influence continues through his work, his speeches, and the countless people he inspired. Charlie's story is both a warning and an inspiration, a warning about the dangers of political hatred and division, and an inspiration to live with courage and conviction. His life reminds us that disagreement should never lead to violence, and that faith can be a guiding light even in dark times.